What's up guys, David Land here. Welcome back to IndyCar Series 2005. Yes, it's continuing, it's back. You can stop yelling at me in the comments. Today, we are going to be racing at Kentucky Motor Speedway. As you can see, we are third in the points in case you need a recap, because of course the Gateway round was quite a few months ago, and then down through the rest of the field you can see everybody who has scored points, but obviously the championship at this point is definitely down to just a certain few. Now, in preparing for this race, I originally thought the next race was at Chicagoland, so I did all of my testing at Chicagoland, and it turned out Bob Jenkins started talking about Kentucky when I booted up the career mode. So it's going to be fairly interesting. I'm kind of going in blind to this race. As you can see, we're 60 points behind Scott Dixon. That's about a race and a half. So we need to win at least 2 races in the last couple here, and we also need Dixon to have a little bit of bad luck to be able to take an IndyCar Series championship. So I mentioned Bob Jenkins earlier. Let's send it over to him now to get us started.
Race 12 of 16 takes place here at Kentucky Speedway. This fast 1.5-mile tri-oval has been the site of IndyCar Series races since it opened in 2000. This is a high-speed, high-bank track, and the cars run the low-downforce Speedway wing configuration. The track is 70 feet wide, but there is generally only one effective groove in the corners. Try not to get too high in the corners here and be prepared for some very tight, close-pack racing. With just 5 races left in the series, you're entering a critical phase in the championship. Every point you earn here and in subsequent races is going to directly affect your chances of winning the title. So keep focused and drive to the best of your ability.
So here we are, ready to qualify at Kentucky Motor Speedway. The qualifications are already taking place. Now, I went out and did a couple of test laps trying to just get a decent baseline setup for this race. Otherwise, I was a little bit not so confident in just jumping out there with the default setup. So I made a few changes to the wings, fairly minor. Didn't even touch the gearing or the ride height or anything. So it looks like the pole speed right now is Sam Hornish at a 227.3, but none of the Penske's have gone yet. So we're going to have to really battle with them. Let's see what we can get done here in the qualifying attempt. I think the pole position is going to be around 228, 229. I don't think we can quite run that, but we'll see. So qualifying setup here, we're going to go all the way down on the fuel. We're going to actually go up slightly because I don't want to run it out. We're going to keep the front wing at 4. That may be a bit of a mistake. We'll have to see. And of course, weight jacker all the way to the front. You can see that indicated by the plus and minus on the wheel, and then the number going up from 4 to 7 is my fuel mixture. 7, of course, is the maximum power going to the engine. 1 would be the least amount of power going to the engine, but of course that would help you save fuel. Hopefully we won't have to save too much fuel today, but it's always a possibility. So with a little more front wing in the car than I was running in testing, I tried to trim the car out a little bit, but turns 3 and 4 here at Kentucky are a lot tighter and a lot more difficult than 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is easy flat out, no problem at all. But as you head down the back straightaway, you actually head over a little bit of a hill going into turn 3, and as you can see, it kind of upsets the car. And I didn't quite get as well through there as I would have liked to, so this warm-up lap, 224.7, not too bad, but I think we can definitely do a heck of a lot better if I can get 3 and 4 properly run as we head onto the back straightaway. Of course, 2 laps in qualifying here, not the average speed counted, couldn't quite get the car down into the groove there again. And we'll lose out a little bit of speed. This might be a little bit faster this time. Yeah, a lot faster. 225.9. So flat through turns 1 and 2. No problem there. Not really a confusion there that I'd be flat out through. Right out to the wall. Enter kind of low. Ooh, that's better. That's way better. That is way better. I found the perfect line through there. Let's even cheat a little bit on the cheater line. Coming to the line. 229.5. What a lap.
That run should be good enough for the pole.
Wow. And we will get the pole position with that lap. I said it would take a 229. I didn't think we were capable of it. Holy smokes. I think that may be my first pole position in this game. I swear I didn't touch the AI or anything. We just ran that good of a lap. Wow. Wow. Well, that's fantastic. Well, at least I'll get to start out the starting grid by calling my own number. So, cue the IndyCar theme. Let's get it going. So on the pole with a spectacular lap at almost 230 miles an hour is me. Outside is Sam Hornish Jr. Second row is Scott Dixon, along with Jill DeFerrin. Row 3, Greg Ray with a great qualifying effort alongside Elio Castroneves, Dravi Buell, and Tora Takagi in row number 4. 5 is Thomas Schechter and Tony Kanaan. Row number 6 is Al Unser Jr. alongside Dan Weldon. Row number 7 will be Sarah Fisher, and on the outside is Brian Herta. Row number 8 is Buddy Rice, along with Roger Yasukawa. Row number 9, Scott Sharp, alongside with Alex Barron. Row 10, Kenny Brack on the inside, and our Lord and Savior, Buddy Lazier, on the outside. Row 11 is AJ Foyt IV, alongside Felipe Giafoni. Row 12, Vitor Mira, alongside Eddie Cheever. And in the final position, bringing up the rear, as it seems he does a lot in this game, Dario Franchitti. We'll see if he stays back there. But this is a unique position for me, on the pole position here at Kentucky Speedway. So the procedure is going to be a little bit different from with me bringing the speed down. I can kind of snooker the field a little bit, but if they get the jump on me, they will really swarm me quick. So the cone is where I can go. The cone on the track. There we go. We bring the field up to speed. I hit the wrong shift up button. I choked a little bit, but it's okay. And we're underway here at Kentucky Motor Speedway. Sam Hornish Jr. making his move on the outside already. Dixon right back there. DeFerrin all the way around the outside. So it is tight quarters here. Heading off into the treacherous turns 3 and 4 complex here at Kentucky. Side by side, and it's Hornish making the move to the outside, and Hornish will take the lead. So we didn't have the best first lap in the entire world. Hornish got the drop on us and actually led the first lap, but we're in 6th gear here, so we're actually theoretically going to be faster in this gear than we would be in 5th gear, which we qualified in. Had to lift off a little bit. Hornish took a little bit of my front aero off the car. DeFerrin still looking behind Dixon in 4th. Up to 6th gear. We should have a good run on Hornish through 1 and 2. Having the draft is going to be really nice in the flat-out corner. Oh, very close there with Hornish. But we'll make the inside move side by side, almost touching wheels there on the back straightaway. Down a gear. Holding it alongside Hornish. Again, this is a pack race. Bob Jenkins was right. We've got DeFerrin still behind us. Dixon still behind us. Oh, on the apron a little bit. Had to kind of bail out because Hornish was a little bit slow getting into 1 and 2 for whatever reason. And again, Hornish takes that line away. Dixon working to the outside with help from, I believe, Greg Ray. And suddenly Elio Castroneves is up in this fight as well. As Dixon moves to the inside of DeFerrin, going for 2nd, will take the lead briefly from Hornish, but now we officially go into the lead. So let's see if we can hold on to it. We're going to have to block Hornish here. Oh, Hornish is going to get the inside. No, he won't. And 4th gear. I forgot I wasn't in 6th gear, 3 wide. Jeez Louise. That's Dixon, the points leader, looking to the outside. This is some wild, wild stuff here at Kentucky Motor Speedway. We will get the inside lane on Hornish and dive it up the inside. No problem there. That is the lead for me. And it looks like we've got a decent berth here, so we should be able to hold on to it through 3 and 4. Oh, slide the tires just a little bit of understeer. Not a big deal. We can add a little bit of weight jacker to the front. I think that'll help us out a little bit. And we're actually pulling away slightly from Hornish. He's looking to the outside of us, but he hasn't quite got the legs on us. Already on lap 7 of 50. Of course, we'll need a pit stop today. And we're actually pulling away suddenly from Hornish. So that initial burst of speed wasn't quite... didn't quite have what it takes. Dixon moves into 2nd. I'll tell you, that weight jacker adjustment really helped me. I'm actually going to add just a tiny bit more to the front bars. Get me a little bit more turning into the corner, because 3 and 4, it seems, is where we're really making up a lot of time. And right now, we are definitely flying. I'm in fact going to turn down the fuel to 2. We don't even need all this horsepower right now. We're pulling away so well. And saving fuel while running up front, man, it doesn't get any better than that.
You are 7/10 of a second ahead of Dixon.
So definitely Hornish got that jump on us at the start, but once once we broke that draft, which seems to be so crucial, and we're able to get out in clean air, man, we are gone. Of course, the problem is Scott Dixon is right behind us. So if it were to finish this way, and I hate to do the points as they run, but if it were to finish this way, we'd only be gaining 10 points on Dixon. It's 50 to win a race, 40 to finish second. And that's not quite going to cut the mustard, to use a phrase. But this is just really, really, the car is just so well balanced right now. It's feeling so good. And I'm just gapping the field. I'm actually surprised. A lot of these 1.5 milers, I just have not had the pace. I would say this has been the type of track that has not been in my favor. I'm kind of a fan of the super speedways, the 2-mile ovals, obviously Indianapolis being 2.5 miles, and then the short ovals like Phoenix, Gateway, Nazareth coming up later on in the season. Those are kind of my forte. This kind of a track, I wasn't really expecting to be running up at the front and being able to pull away while saving fuel. Pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. Again, Dixon, now DeFerrin, and Kanaan moving up from quite a ways back in the field, so Kanaan clearly has a hot rod as well. I was actually kind of surprised to see him that far back in the grid when we did the starting grid. And crossing the line once again, lap 13 of 50. And we have 13 laps left in the fuel tank as well. Al Unser Jr. is last, which is interesting. He started fairly close to the front, if I'm not mistaken. And we're just maintaining this gap of 0.7 of a second over Dixon. We could turn the wick up and really try to pull away. Not really a big deal right now. I'm comfortable with this gap. Saving fuel again is a major key. If we can get into be the last person to make the last stop, that can benefit us, especially considering that there could be yellow flags. We want to stay on the track as long as possible. If there is a yellow flag that bunches the field up, we don't want to be the ones who get caught out in the pits under yellow. But we just continue to pull away from the rest of the field. We're only doing 222-mile-an-hour laps, down from our fastest lap of the race at almost 227. So it seems like the race pace is a bit slower than I would have anticipated, especially considering those first couple laps where it was just balls to the wall, everybody going for position. Very, very close racing. This, not so much anymore. And Kanaan has moved up into that top 4. He's leading, or he's in the top 3 of the pack. But, of course, we've broken away from the pack at the moment. It's very bumpy in 3 and 4 on this track, especially on that entry. When you cross over that transition from the kind of, I guess you could call it the hill, going over the hill into the banking over in 3 and 4, it definitely upsets the car a little bit. If I was running a much more aggressive setup, I feel like turns 3 and 4 would be very, very sketchy. But for whatever reason, this car is just very nicely balanced, and we're just able to run so well. It's just kind of surprising considering how tough this game usually is. At the moment, we're mollywopping everybody, but I'm fine with that. It's going to be interesting as well when we get to the pit stop to see how everything kind of works out. Will the pack break up a little bit? I'm wondering if we'll see some lap traffic. It seems like if these races go green, we usually do, but you just never know. It seemed like everybody was grouped together pretty closely, but here we are, 19 laps into the race, almost at the halfway mark, and it seems like there's a big pack up front, but everybody else is fairly contained at the back, maybe spread out a little bit to even go that far. So Dixon still running second. So clearly, we've got the two strongest championship contenders are running up at the front, but again, we're just able to hold on to this lead so very well, and we won't have to pit for another 6 laps, so we'll just right about be at halfway to split this race in 2, which is going to be very, very interesting. At some point, I almost feel like I might want to go down to fuel position 1, but a lot of times fuel position 1 is fairly slow. If we build up a little bit more of a gap here, I think I may go to it. We've got a second on Dixon now, and a second at an oval is quite a margin. So I'm waiting for them to peel off into the pits. They have not done it yet. We still have 4.8 on the fuel. I say let's go down. Let's go down to 1. Give us a little bit more breathing room. Save a little bit more fuel. It's not going to make too much of a difference, but it'll make enough of a difference in that we have a little bit more flexibility, and that's what we want, flexibility. Dixon, still in my mirror, I'm seeing that Dixon leading, DeFerrin on the outside trying to make something happen. We're losing a little bit of time. It's the gap is coming down a little bit, but again, as long as they don't catch my draft, we should be okay to hang on to this thing until the stop. And that's the key.
You are 8/10 of a second ahead of Dixon.
8/10. So we're starting to find the crossover point of how slow I can run and still hold on to the lead. Right now, we're okay. It's not too big of a deal. Again, them closing in, I'm not too worried about it. But what I would like is that they come into the pits at some point.
Pits on your next lap.
So, spotter telling me to come into the pits. That probably means everybody else is coming. We still got 2 laps on the fuel.
Your fuel is low. You should pit next lap. Pit next
I think
lap.
we'll stay out one more. One more. We should be all right, and that'll give us 1 lap advantage over the rest of the field, and that's what I kind of am hoping for here. And they are coming in behind me, so I'm hoping they come into the pits this time around.
You are 4/10 of a second ahead of Dixon.
And they do not. They do not, so we'll have to pit with the leaders.
Your fuel is low. You should pit next lap. Come into the pits on your next lap.
We're going to be cutting it pretty close, folks, on the fuel. But I think we'll be all right. Well, I guess this is where you enter the pits, and I've already missed the pit entry, kind of. So we're going to have to go around the grass here, and Dixon actually takes the lead because of my mistake in the pit sequence. Oh boy, that's not what I needed to do.
Keep it under 60.
Well, that's unfortunate. So we definitely don't need 47 laps of fuel. I can tell you that one right off the bat. We're going to go with 20. We'll go with 28 just to be safe. That's well over half the race. Not going to make any wing adjustments or anything. I'm happy with the balance of the car as we're just waiting for Dixon and the rest to get into the pits. There's Cheever in the pits, and exiting the pits a lot of the Andretti cars, including Weldon, and I believe that was maybe Dario Franchitti, possibly Herta, actually. It was probably Herta, as we are getting the tire change done. Fuel has already been completed. Hornish is out of the pits, and Dixon before me. So it's a race, boys. Keep the fuel down. So we are going to have to race for this one now. I guess I botched the strategy a little bit, played a little too conservatively, and at the same time took a big risk by staying out. And again, I hit the wrong shift up button. There goes Greg Ray around. That's another car for position. But we're up in fuel mix 7 now. We're going to put the weight checker all the way to the front, and we're going to go for it. We have to. So the fact that we fell behind Greg Ray is a little bit concerning because Ray was not really
You've taken 7th place.
a front runner. He did qualify fairly well, and that was way too high out of the groove. Way too high out of the groove. Tires not quite up to temperature. That probably was what that was. But I feel like everybody was saving fuel, and I may have been played a little bit by the AI. Just a little bit of a lift through there. Once we get the draft of Ray,
You are 5.3 seconds behind the race.
we'll hopefully start being able to leapfrog them.
Lap so far.
But it seems like everybody's really turned the wick up. Everybody's going really hard. So I guess I should have tried to get a better lead. Just a little bit of a lift again into 3 and 4. We're definitely catching quite quickly up to Ray.
You are 0.5 of a second behind Ray. That was your best lap so far.
That's going to give us a nice draft here, nice tow. Underneath Ray, not even a contest. Oh, contact.
You are clear.
Good God. Well, maybe it was a contest.
You are now in 6th place.
I thought we'd cleared him pretty safely, and then I felt a little bit of contact, and there he was on the outside. So Greg Ray tried to cowboy it around the outside. Best lap so far, not really a shocker considering I had a bit of a draft into turn 1. Well, if I ever needed those 229 laps I was able to do in qualifying, now is the time. Flat out through 3 and 4. That will certainly help my quest. We're doing 228.5. Yeah, there we go. These are the kind of laps I needed to be turning. Of course, Hornish did a 227 in qualifying.
You are 4.4 seconds behind the race leader.
Bad corner there. We're going to definitely lose out a little bit.
2.6 seconds behind Castroneves.
But once we get up to Elio, things are going to get a little bit more interesting because we'll be in that lead draft. We're trying to catch the lead draft right now. That's the key. Just cracked the throttle ever so slightly. Lost a couple miles an hour, but certainly not nearly as much as we did on the last lap, which was a 226. That was a 229. 229. Where did that come from? I guess I ran the right groove. I'll tell you that. Goodness gracious. That was on my qualifying pace. 229.5 was exactly, I think, what we did in qualifying. And we are just absolutely doing exactly what we needed to do. Not quite up to 229, well, possibly at 229. I didn't see the lap speed that time around, but certainly we are flying right now. We are definitely catching the back of this group here, which includes Kanan, Castroneves, and Hornish.
1.1 seconds behind Castroneves.
And in fact, the pack is catching lap traffic as well. So things are really going to get heated here, as we've got a very fast car coming up on a lot of fast cars, coming up on a lot of slower cars. This could get hairy. And in fact, DeFerrin has just taken the lead from Dixon. So everything is getting very interesting here. Down the main straightaway. Getting a nice draft off of TK. Into the inside of Elio. And look at that run, almost making contact wheel to wheel with Hornish. Definitely a bit of a low entry into turn 3, but it pays off, and lap traffic is holding up Dixon and DeFerrin. I think that's Cheever. I'm almost positive it's Cheever, actually, because Cheever was in the pits with us. Oh, and Cheever blocks Dixon. What on earth is Eddie? Well, Eddie Cheever gonna Eddie Cheever, but what? I mean, goodness gracious, Eddie. What are you doing, son? Thankfully, we get around him fairly easily and absolutely have a big run here on Dixon. We'll at least get Dixon. Oh, boy. Side by side, I felt like I was going to hit DeFerrin. I had to back out of it slightly. And DeFerrin and I are side by side for the race lead. Oh, kind of shoved DeFerrin up. Dixon going to the inside. Dixon takes second place, so I just screwed myself for points there a little bit. But here comes Dixon to the outside. We're coming up on lap traffic. I think that is Franchitti. And it is indeed Franchitti, but he runs way wide out of turn 2, and we'll clear him easily. So into the lead, and with a lap car as a buffer. Perfect. Exactly what we need to do. We still got 9 laps to... Oh, that was a Code Brown moment. That was a Code Brown moment. Wow, that actually scared me. That actually scared me. I thought we were going around there. That would have been a tragedy. I caught the apron coming out of turn 4, and it almost upset the car to the point where I was going into the wall. Oh, boy. Okay. Breathe, David. Breathe. Just breathe. Goodness gracious. DeFerrin has gotten back around for second, so in terms of the championship, this is exactly what we needed. A little bit of a lift in turn 3. Tires are starting to wear a bit. And we've got 10 laps remaining on the fuel. We should be able to make it to the end running full rich the whole way around. I think AJ Foyt is the next car we will be lapping. And there's no reason to hold back now, I can tell you that. Fuel saving, I do not care about anymore. I cared early on in the race. Oh, tire starting to slide a little bit. Car's starting to slide a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of the weight jacker out of the car to kind of compensate for that. Might have a little bit more understeer, but it's going to be a safer car to drive. That's going to be the key. As Foyt runs kind of wide up the track. Just give a little bit of a lift into turns 3 and 4 and get a good run off and easily lap Foyt. 8.5 on the fuel. Should be 5 laps to go. This so we'll be seeing 4 on the ticker next time around. Coming up behind our Lord and Savior, Buddy Lazier. All right, buddy. I've said a lot of nice things about you. So please no punterino. Oh God, I just stole that. I'm so sorry. Jimmy Broadbent will never watch this, but I stole that from Jimmy Broadbent. So sorry. I steal jokes. I'm a terrible comedian. As we work underneath, Giafone. 4 laps to go. 6 on the fuel. 3 to go at the line. So we've got twice the fuel we need to make it to the end. Yasukawa, Vitor. We'll get underneath them as well. And get around them fairly easily. So we're definitely lapping through the field quite nice. Coming up to 2 laps to go, and Dixon has gotten back to second. You crafty slide dog, you. You have gotten... Yeah, I'll tell you, even racing Scott Dixon in a freaking video game, that dude is championship material. And you're seeing it here. I would love if DeFerrin would get around him. I sure would love that. Don't think it's going to happen, but I'll cross my fingers. Last lap, we ran 2:28 on the last lap, so we are just straight killing it. Killing it at Kentucky Speedway. And coming down. Don't really need to push the issue with the lap cars here. We're just going to hold on to the inside. I guess we'll lap Sarah. Down and crossing the line at Kentucky Speedway. Victory in the IndyCar Series once again. So, with 50 laps completed and 52 points, so we'll take a 12-point gain on Dixon. Unfortunately, DeFerrin couldn't pull off exactly what I needed him to do. That would have been nice. Everybody was actually running about my pace. Everybody in the 23-second bracket. Of course, 2/10 at an oval is a pretty large margin for lap speed. But going down through the rest of the field, you can see everybody finished the race. Only a few cars a lap down, of course. 25 started, so a pretty healthy grid here at Kentucky. But again, we took the victory. Take 12 points back from Dixon. That's what we need to be doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Leave a like on this video for more IndyCar Series 2005. I am going to finish this series, and once we finish this series, we'll be back to Indy 500 Evolution. The IndyCar hype is real. IndyCar is back, and so are IndyCar video games. We'll see you at the next race, which I think is either Chicagoland or Nazareth. We'll find out in the next video.